We'll move on to the foreign scene. The UK's £29,000 minimum income requirement for spouse visas has sparked debate. The UK's government decision to keep the minimum income requirement, MIR, for British citizens and permanent residents sponsoring foreign spouses or partners at £29,000 per year has sparked renewed debate. This increase from the previous threshold of £18,600, which came into effect in April 2024, according to the Dad Scholarship, has raised concerns about its impact on families and the wider economy. So there's been an increase. From 2012, the threshold minimum income requirement for UK residents to bring in a foreign spouse was at £18,600 per year. And that was the threshold until 2024. Now, with this increase to £29,000 a year, there are criticisms that this may not be favorable for low-income earning spouses who want to bring in a foreign spouse, and it sort of looked discriminatory. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's clear that the world will face very difficult times. And everybody seems now nationalistic, finding the way
so who do we blame for this nationalistic movement that we're seeing now?
We are now living for ourselves, and I think that is what it is. I put that it's over 53 million in Nigerian naira.
What's the average? What's the average earning? What's the average?
63 million.
Don't go there.
Yes.
Let's not do the
wow.
Let's not do the calculation in naira,
that's some money.
Just be.
Yeah, but I think the whole thing is the fact that Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, seems bent on discouraging immigration to the UK, and I think that is very obvious because they are facing real difficult times. And it's not just about the UK, it's also most of Western civilization, where, of course, civilization has gone into the crescendo. So they are all platooned and then they are moving toward down. And that's why we're saying there's only one place where there is hope, and that place is Africa. And I think those passes can begin to come to Africa. We won't charge £29,000.
Free. Just come and
no, we won't take free. We are going to charge some money, but it will not be as expensive as the UK. So make Nigeria your destination, or it could be just Ghana here or Benin Republic. So let Africa also benefit from immigration from Asia, from Europe, and those who want to move. But you see, this is reality. The world is aging. There's hardship everywhere, and governments across the globe are challenged because there is a whole lot of insurrections everywhere. About the former prime minister, we saw how they were making provision for people to be able to eat, and see people queuing in council houses to go collect food, even in those climes that all of us want to go to. So it's a challenge that the United Kingdom is facing, and they're also working out modalities to see how to address their problem. And it's really stringent, no doubt at all. But if you help the economy, it's just quite great. It's not just them, because if you have listened to Donald Trump 2 days ago at the Congress, and he said, what we're doing really is that we're giving golden card for $5 million. We want people who have some money to come into this country and invest, and so we'll give them a golden card like the green card. But this one is now more profitable because these people have to earn it, and they have to bring in their money into the environment. So you can see this sentiment around the world that other people are thinking about is how to make more money, make life more meaningful to the citizens of their environment. And I think African nations must also take this into cognizance, that people don't just walk into our environment for free, all in the name that we are looking for help, and then they are taking undue advantage of us.
But what do you think is the influence of the UK's conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, on some of these changes to the immigration policy in UK?
Well, have we really seen that level of opposition from she's just doesn't
it's not
have
opposition.
any,
It seemed like the Prime Minister is towing the line of the Conservatives
yes,
when it
I
comes
didn't
to
expect
immigration
Labour.
policy.
I didn't expect Labour to go this direction. After all, well, it was said that this idea had been mooted since 2023. So when did Keir Starmer came in? Though he will be in the know since then. But the thing is, when I saw it, first of all, in Naira first, sorry. 50,
I told you not to go there. Don't go there.
Naira.
Don't.
Then you can talk about that of 18,000 is more than 34 or 34
It will make you look at it as this
34
money
million.
is just
Yes,
huge.
even my friends abroad told me don't ever do that. Whenever I hear
So
anything
you
in
see,
dollars, in
we were
pounds,
advising you.
say don't do that because it will make you close fist.
It's about your mind.
Do that. Like I said, okay. Then the thing is this. UK, take it easy. For Nigeria, it's 56 million. What about other African countries?
And you have lots of African immigrants who were there. Some of them now
And it's-
have indefinite stay. Some of them are already citizens, and they may want
the
to
opposition
bring
is
in
mild.
spouses
The opposition is mild.
for family settlement.
This is not
Okay.
about conservative or Labour. It's about the economic reality in United Kingdom. This same reality led to the Brexit debate. And what was at the heart of the Brexit debate that made United Kingdom to leave EU zone was the fact that, because of this policy, many other European countries are coming to take the job in our clime, and our own citizens are not having job. So if we leave EU and with Brexit, then we are able to now make provisions for our citizens. So all this calculation has nothing to do with political ideology. It only means to you that, you see, the world is aging. I like to use that word because resources is shrinking. And as resources shrink and population increases, and especially when we are no longer able to really make provisions for jobs and employment for citizens, and government has become more like a social service, carrying so many burdens. The beautiful thing that any man can think at that time is to think about saving costs. And that's why in accounting they tell you that when you cut down costs, it's a way of raising revenue. And I think this is what is happening. So if we cannot say outrightly don't come to our country, we put a stringent measure in place. And then if people who are desperate and they want to come and they have that kind of money, then of course it becomes revenue for the country.
Okay.
And so this is economic consideration, and I don't think politics will have anything to do with it.
But shouldn't
so-
social consideration also come into play? Because this has to do with families. If you already have a resident whose family is abroad, and then they want to bring in their spouse, should the requirements be so stringent that that resident is unable to bring in their spouse? Are we not looking at some implications of this? Is this not anti-family?
Yeah, but you see,
Yes,
you see, this is target at immigrant and not necessarily their own people. So if you want to bring your wife, then you have to work hard, double hard, to be able to raise money, to bring your wife wherever you are, or your husband, wherever he is, to come to the United Kingdom. But the point I'm making is the fact that free meal has ended. If you listen to the debates at the Congress the other day, and one of the things that, of course, the Republicans were saying is to say, look, we are borrowing money to fund frivolities. If we have the money,
Is it actually frivolities?
most of them are frivolity. So
How is that? Let's look at this case. So a man is in another country, is working, his wife is in a different country, and perhaps that man has been resident in the UK for maybe at least 10 years for you to even become a resident or for you to have indefinite stay in the UK, but at least more than 5 years. So the man wants to bring in his family. You understand how critical this is. Do we classify that as frivolities?
Now look at what it is. The government of the United Kingdom understands the psyche of how the world is running. In short, I think it was 2022 or so, they complained that they gave admission to about 4,000 households and over 42,000 people came with the 4,000 admissions.
As dependents of...
As dependents, yes. So people are deliberate. And so when they're coming into the environment, they're deliberate because they want to migrate from where they are to come into a new location to look for greener pasture. Now, what the system is doing is to say, yes, we are looking for greener pasture, but not at the expense of our own children. Because we also have obligation to create jobs for our children. So these are the situations and the scenarios that we must understand. And this is happening all across the globe because the truth is that resources is shrinking and government is carrying more load than it can naturally bear. And they need to cut down on expenses or to place very stringent measures on movement around so that they can be able to cope with what they already have is a big, big issue.
So even in the United Kingdom, majority of people who earn, like the middle or the lower class, they don't even earn that annually. That £29,000 annually. That's
why so there are criticisms about the policy.
About the policy. There are criticism about the policy. And the other thing is they felt, the public infrastructure, public service system, we have little of it. So,
will be overwhelmed.
So yes, it will be overwhelmed. And so when you are coming in, you should be able to take care of yourself for a specified period of time without depending on the services that the government is providing. That's equally one of the reasons why this specific policy is coming into place. So when they do that, and there is equally time for review, so that it is reviewed in a way that you could be asked to even pay more. And it must be looked at critically, and it is obvious that, of course, it's a disincentive, like, don't come, please stay away. However, what Africa should learn from this, I know that Nigerian visa is one of the most difficult for people to get and come into this country, and when some persons finally get it, they breathe this sigh of relief. But we should be very, very careful of the kind of people we now give visas as well. That when you're coming to this country, it's either you're contributing economically or you will have to pay through your nose to equally say. But however, the UK, the United States of America, and some other European countries have a very good system in place to manage the people that come into their climb and to also put them in the radar to equally able to take from them any form of taxes that they need to remit to the government that will serve as an effective source for the government to prosecute other plans and projects in the country. It's well done. Now, for Nigeria and for other African countries, do we have this infrastructure? That's another question we need to ask ourselves. Now, we've talked recently, we spoke about how the government, by virtue of its traveling around, is been able to secure commitment for business investors to come establish using the $50.8 billion in the country. So, what sectors are we looking to sell to these people? Is another question. And how our people, how that will serve as a platform to reduce unemployment is also key.
Okay, if we're talking about the UK bringing up stiff policies to discourage immigrants from coming into the UK, but the UK has also benefited a lot from immigrants because annually the UK generates £7.6 billion from immigrant-owned businesses, and annually the UK also makes about £28 billion from international students who come into the UK to study. So the economy has benefited. Shouldn't the UK be looking at deeper issues regarding how much it is committing to expand its infrastructure? Now, the one of the arguments that the UK government usually push forward when you're talking about immigration is how overwhelming the presence of many migrants has puts pressure on their infrastructure. But shouldn't this infrastructure be also upgraded? The economy is gaining as well. It's not as if the UK is losing in the way they paint it from people coming into their country. Many of most of the workforce, you have migrants who are coming in there, and it's not as if the pay is commensurate with what those who are citizens are also having. For education, which is majorly what they sell, they're making a lot of money as well. So why make it seem like you're disturbing us when you're also making money? Shouldn't consideration be given to those? If you're talking about students now and you're making these policies, well, if you're going to a country to study, it's even expected that, oh, your study should be the primary focus. Bringing dependence should not be it, even though we have seen people use that route to settle families there. But for those who are already settled, have full-time jobs, have become residents there, I think that some consideration should be given to them. But in the meantime, while it's still subject to debate, there is the Migration Advisory Committee that is looking into this, and it will be reviewed in 2025. For those who had the luck, I would say luck, of applying early before this policy came into being, they will still have to pay the 18,600. But after that date, those who were unlucky to have filed applied for spousal visa after that date will have to pay the 29,000 or will need that 29,000 annual income to be able to apply for spousal visa. But yes, let's take from what Doc has said. It now depends on those who are migrating. You could actually stay where you are and make life comfortable for you.
Who are you telling that to? Nigerians?
I'm telling that to those who would listen.
I'm talking to, and I think that's addressed to Priye.
Oh,
I'm telling you that
travel.
Yes, I'm wrapping up. I'm telling that to those
Nigerians,
who would listen.
we need to take
if
over the world.
If you know that, take over the world.
Yes,
when
you
you're
need
not
to
taking
take
over your own
Please take over your environment first.
Go to the United States, go to UK.
Instead of putting yourself under
Russia,
pressure.
go to Russia, go to Ukraine.
We're not saying don't travel.
He's going to experience peace. You just go to Ukraine.
And he hasn't gone.
Go to Malta.
He hasn't gone.
Go to Kazakhstan.
He's telling you he hasn't gone.